photo. C'est l'inverse. It's on when it's red. It's the opposite.
Ah, ok.
Oui, oui. Buongiorno a tutti e a tutti. Hello to everybody. I have to say that every year at Aix-en-Provence, the talk with perfumers is my absolute favorite. So you can imagine when Essential asked me, to arrange and moderate this talk, I was in the clouds, like at the entrance in my happy world with the master perfumers. Because, most of my time I spend with brands, with retailers, with professional sales experts, which is great, but perfumers is really special. I guess you agree with me. So today we have talented perfumers who make us dream with fragrances. And we have 2 in-house notes and 2 independent perfumers. And that's made on purpose, of course, for the discussion today. 2 are French, 2 are Italian. I'm French and Italian, so this is the dream team. I hope you agree with me that it's good for you to get a little bit of an introduction of who they are. If you don't know them already, it's going to be short, but I think it's interesting to present them to you. So I'll start alphabetically, of course, and it's Stephanie next to me, Stephanie Bacouche. So her card is independent. She's French, and she studied at ISIPCA. She worked with prestigious houses like Givaudan, Tagazaco, the house of Mers Parfum, l'Artisan Parfumeur. She's been an active member of l'Osmotech since 2013, so she's also a teacher at École Supérieure du Parfum. And her adventure with Sensaba that she founded started in 2017. She works for exclusive clients, you may know some of them, Maison Crivelli, Chabot, Jules Mad, Parfum DCI. And she added another idea, or another specialty, which is a traveling experience as an olfactive creator. In a nutshell, to be short. Second one is Cristiano Canali. Her card is in-house. His card is in-house. He's working for Man Milan. He followed the heritage of being a pharmacist that his grandfather kind of gave to him. But he decided to use science also to create olfactive experience and become a perfumer. So he completed his international master at ISIPCA, and he worked with renowned masters in Paris, such as Bruno Jovanovic, Carlos Benaim, Dominique Robion, Sophie Labbé, people that we all know of. He then joined Argeville in the south of France, and is now happy in Milano at Man. Third actor, his card is independent. It's Patrice Revillard, French, and he graduated from École Supérieure du Parfum and immediately decided to fulfill his dream, found his own lab and his independent company called Maelstrom in 2017. So there he's free, he pushes for innovation, he explores ingredients because he has a real passion for botanicals that he will explain to us later on. He's already made some fantastic creations for Jacques Faff, Théo Cabanel, Obvious, Maison Chabot. Last but not least, it's Oliver Riva. His card is in-house. He's the youngest perfumer of a panel, maybe. Anyway, he's just joined Tagazaco, really very fresh, just a couple of days ago. So congratulations. And he's British and Italian. Yeah. So he's Italian but British too, and he studied law in the UK before decided to change, follow his heart and soul and go to the perfumery world. So he also studied at ISIPCA with a master, that he completed in 2020, then a training at IFF in the Netherlands, and fine fragrances in Paris. Went back to Italy to join the Farotti team, and Tagasako, as you've just, Maulhausen, sorry, afterwards, and Tagasako just now. Okay, so this is enough for the introduction. We have plenty of topic to cover, so I hope we'll keep you, we'll keep it alive and kicking with short answers, but, with what you're looking for in terms of real substance. First question, obvious, we go to the original connection with perfume. It's a personal story for each one of them, and I'll start with you, Stephanie.
Well, my attraction to scents began at a very young age. I would say two things. Maybe my first strong connection to scents would be in my trips to Morocco, in the souks of Morocco, where I spent a lot of holidays with my grandparents when I was a kid. My first very strong connection with perfume is with Serge Lutin's collection and the amazing work of Christopher Sheldrake. That is the most marking moments in my life.
Okay, Cristiano, what about you?
President. So my first arrival on this perfumery universe arrived in India during a trip. And there I was for finishing my pharmaceutical studies, and there I got in contact with some sandalwood producer, and this really triggered something unconscious of me, and then it became first a curiosity, then a passion, and then I tried to make it work, and here I am.
Good stuff. What about you, Patrice?
It's plants who drove me to perfume by the smell of plants, because I grow in Haute-Savoie in the southern France, and I spent a long time in the garden of my grandmother and my parents' garden, and one day I was able to name each plant in the countryside. And one day I read a book about the smell of these plants, and it was amazing, mesmerizing to me to discover that we can describe plants by their smell. So I discovered the smell of the plants, and just after that the perfume and perfume industry, which use these plants. And to me it was, wow, amazing. We can create something with perfume, with smell of these plants I love. So it was, I think, the beginning, in the garden.
So the adventure started in the garden, and with a book. It's interesting, and the two others with a trip. And you, Oliver?
Okay, so ever since I was born, smells were something that I was very interested in, but not so much perfume. Can you hear me? Yes, okay. And it was only when I missed a flight in Bologna's airport that I was walking around the duty-free, and I ended up smelling Dior's Eau Sauvage from 1966, Edmond Ronitsky's creation, and something just resonated with me on a really deep level. I realized that perfume had a power, and I realized what I wanted to smell like, and I think Eau Sauvage, in a sense, removed the veil of the perfume industry for me, and you can say that I'm here today because of that fragrance. So, yeah.
God bless you missed the flight. That's a good one. Yes. Okay, our second question is, it's related maybe to what you've just said, Oliver, is there a perfumer or a mentor that you want us to know about, something that, is maybe a secret, at least something we don't know? What, Cristiano, for you, what would be your answer?
So I had the chance in Paris to work with several of the great masters that were at IFF back in those days. So of course all of those are an inspirational source. But I think having the chance to collaborate with the Osmothèque of Versailles gave me the opportunity to get in touch with these hidden gems and to discover and really analyze, go through them one by one. And I don't know, casually or not, I really start digging into the early Coty's fragrances, and he was really a pioneer in the innovation and in the way of perceiving perfumery structures. Of course, it's 100 years from now, so now they're considered, I don't know, Indiana Jones or something like that. But really, he has a mentality that and an approach that I really admire and took inspiration from.
Okay, great. So François Coty, that's Christian who speak. What about you, Stephanie? Oops.
If you ask about a mentor, there will be no secret answer on my side. I've been mentored by my friend and master perfumer Bertrand Duchaufour for 7 years, who still is my mentor. I don't think it ends any day. So yeah, I've been. He's transmitted his technique. He shared his passion. And all of this ended by a creation of mine for L'Artisan Parfumeur as a symbol of the 7 years of companionship spent with him. So Bertrand Duchaufour and his amazing technique as a perfumer, a real huge master perfumer, is definitely my answer.
Wonderful. What about you, Oliver? I mean, you mentioned the falling in love with,
Yes.
but something else maybe you want
Yes.
to add.
Definitely. So I was fortunate enough to have two mentors at IFF. Soraya da Costa Silva, who is a home care perfumer, and Nicolas Beaulieu in Paris, who's fine fragrance. And they were incredibly generous, and they helped shape the perfumer I am today. And as Stephanie said, I think a mentor is for life. It's not really something that's restricted to, an internship or a couple of years. In terms of fragrance that I wish I had created, for me it's Couleurs by Pierre Baudon for Yves Saint Laurent. I think that's a magical fragrance that had an incredible vision in terms of creating the fougère and the chypre chord from Mistior, from Paco Rabanne pour Homme and Mistior, and then combining it with an overdose of animal ingredients. It's visionary for me.
Great. And Patrice, you have a different story, I'm sure.
I'm sorry, because I didn't have a mentor for different reasons, but sometimes I'm very sad to didn't have a mentor because, as my colleague said, it's someone who can refer to have some advices and to have someone to talk with when you are alone. When you are in the independent perfumer, you are alone, so you need someone to smell with you or to have some advices. And but sometimes I think about another thing that I don't have any preconceptions in perfumery, and maybe I'm more free. But it's a totally different story. But I admire some perfumers because I'm not self-taught, neither. I did internship at IFF, for example, or with an indie perfumer, Fabrice Olivieri, and I admire historical perfume, and I learned a lot about these perfumes, history of perfumes, and I admire also, for example, some perfumes like Infusion d'Iris or Annick Menardo's work, which inspired me a lot. And flowers, yes. Yeah. And flowers. And maybe garden is my mentor, I don't know.
Your book is outside, and then you study books too, so yeah, great. Okay, now I have a question that's really serious, and I guess it's the most, the essence of this discussion this morning, which is, it's the big question, what is the motivation to become independent or to be working in-house? I'll stick with you, Patrice. Let's start with you on that one.
I think I didn't invent anything. I think the freedom is the main thing why I founded my own lab. And that was the question, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Spot on.
And really, during my studies, it was really clear, but it was an option also to be an in-house perfumer one day. Who knows if there is an opportunity or anything else. But at the end of my studies, it was really clear that I need this freedom and to have my own lab and my own clients and to work directly with them, to be in contact with them directly without, I don't know, someone who is the evaluator or the commercial. And I think the clients love this relationship with perfumers, direct relationship with them.
Stephanie, you're next to me and you're independent. What will you add? What will you say?
Yes, this is very true. Of course, my first main answer to this question is the freedom in terms of creativity, of course. Also, well, my path is quite unusual too. I've held different positions in the industry that brought a lot of strings to my bow. I've been a product training and product manager in L'Artisan Parfumeur. I've been an evaluator in Givaudan. I've been in product development and quality control in Hermès Parfum. I've done many experiences actually who just gave me first the precious network to tap into, but also the skills to become independent. And that's what my choice was when I left L'Artisan Parfumeur and some clients began to come to me, and the first was Jules Mad. I was ready to create my own lab, and I felt ready to be independent, and I had the huge privilege, as you, Patrice, to be able to do it together with the famous huge Rudnitska house above Grasse, Art et Parfum, where the values of Rudnitska really continue to be transmitted, which corresponds also to this freedom of creativity, the respect of perfume as an art, and a certain fight also for our rights on our formulas. So this is very important to us. And as Patrice said, a huge advantage also to me is really the direct contact with the client. It's really something also that the clients come to get when they come to see us. They like also to be able to exchange directly with a perfumer. And the last point, very important also as an independent, but we'll talk about this later with ingredients, is to be able to tap into any ingredients from any house that I like. You know, we're not stuck with one, well, stuck is a big word, of course, they create beautiful things, but it's wonderful to be able to widen the palette like this with many kind of specialties.
I would add, you're right, Stephanie, we are independent perfumer, but we are not alone. We have producers and yeah.
Okay, so Patrice and Stephanie, you've made your point pretty strong, why you like and it's great to be independent. Guys, you please fire. Why is it great to be an in-house perfumer? Cristiano, go first.
So for me, I'm more of a team player, and I like to be in a big house. And for me, Manna is a great opportunity to work on a pool of talents, highly specialized in different tasks. And everybody is really driven for innovation and excellence. So we all go together to clients and we meet them and we discuss, we brainstorm, then we come back. Sometimes we fight, sometimes we agree on everything. You know, there is not a day that is like the other. So this is also very stimulating. And yes, and of course, being in a big house, you have access to all their historical knowledge, to all their wide portfolio of clients that they have spread throughout the years. And Mani is also very famous for their beautiful palette of raw materials. And so I feel very privileged to get my hands into the captives and all these hidden technologies behind, and the events they organize. So it's really, I don't know, it's a boiling pot, and you never know what's your day at work is going to look like. And for me, this is very stimulating.
Okay, you, Oliver.
Okay, firstly, I want to say that I have a great admiration for independent perfumers. I think it's an incredibly courageous choice.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's not something that I necessarily, at this point in my career, could even consider because I think coming into the industry already is difficult as a starting point, especially if you have no background, no one in your family, no connections of any sort. And I think one of the reasons I chose the path of an in-house perfumer was the fact that I had access to, well, just professionals in the corridor. So I have access to evaluators that can, that have 10, 15 years experience of smelling fragrance every day, and they can tell you, oh, that's not right. That's missing a bit of a top note. It's not sparkly enough, or you can make it a bit more unique, or it's too unique maybe. I think also, other perfumers, I can walk into the office of another perfumer to say, look, I'm not quite sure how to refine this note. Do you have any ideas, what the client would like? And so that's an incredible resource to have. Again, I echo what Cristiano says in terms of raw materials. Having access to Takasago's palette of naturals and captives is a luxury. I think all of us here can agree that just being able to work every day, with the finest raw materials is a luxury in itself. And I think the last point I would make, which is something I didn't really expect, is something I'm discovering right now, that at Takasago, it being a Japanese company, there is a real feel for the Japanese culture, which was something that I knew nothing about beforehand. And it's proving to be a source of inspiration in terms of creations because, as I'll show you later, we've been exploring some Japanese ingredients, and it's just opened my eyes to a completely different realm of fragrance that I wasn't aware of. So yeah, thank you.
The Japanese world,
Yep.
as a conclusion. My next question is really short because after that one we'll go through a smelling, olfactive experience. So now that you talked about projects, each one maybe give us an idea of how many projects you work on and what's your typical kind of day of work, or because it can be different maybe from one to the other. So Stephanie, let's start with you.
It's not an easy question because it's not very regular. I do work on several projects at the same time, maybe a dozen at the same time, but one project doesn't mean one formula. And I work for clients who contact me proactively or who I meet during fairs, of course, like Accents. What's important to me, and it's also the freedom of the independent perfumer, is to choose people with whom I really feel a good personal connection also, and we have a really good feeling, and who are interested also in innovative and creative ideas, and who respect perfume as an art, which also means to respect the time needed to elaborate something from scratch.
Patrice, what is your point of view on this one?
For me, it's the same thing like Stephanie, I think, and I think we are in common in in-house perfumer and indie perfumers. This kind of all the projects are different. Each client is different. So it's always stimulating to have a new brief because it's always different with a new way to brief the perfumer, to bring some inspirations. So. And we have different projects, but never at the same moment. So we are with one client at the beginning of the project, just at the brief, instead of with another one, it's at the end, and so you have to manage different stages of the creation. So it's always the rush in the lab.
There's a picture of you like a prestigious.
and when you are indie, you are also the commercial. You are also how to say on the. I'm young, but I'm not popular with the social media. So you are also the people who made the stories on Instagram, etc. So you have all the role in the company. So one day is never the same than the one after. Yeah.
Okay. Oliver, what would you say on this project's juggling?
Yes. I would say on average we work on about 10, 12, 15 projects at a time. As everyone says here, it's quite intense. It's incredibly stimulating to think that maybe I could be working in the morning on a project for the Middle East. You know, later in the morning I'm in Germany or Spain or France. In the afternoon I can be in Italy in terms of my creations. So you have to, as you said, juggle projects continuously. But I think it makes us, it's incredibly stimulating. It gets the best out of us having more than just one project to work on at the same time. Yeah.
What if you finish your day with the mini list? No, that was a joke. Cristiano, what would you say?
Yeah, the number of projects really depends of the moment. Of course, before like big expos or some particular moments of the year, you have a peak in which there is no time schedules and everything's come in a rush and you have to respond quickly enough. And as Oliver said, we work on a global portfolio of clients. So maybe you get comments from Brazil and early in the day and then, early in the night from the day before. And then at the end of the day, you have Dubai feelings or I don't know, some other projects that are really going one over the others. And also you have projects that close themselves up in a week, some others in months, some others really takes literally years to develop. And each project can involve, as Patrice said, one or more formulas to go with. It's this trial and error that's really triggering the creativity. And for me also sharing with the team, it's very important to get the feedback. So it's building and building and building. At the end of the day, you know, it's never enough because I realize that even when you go home, you still smell fragrances. When you are on the airport traveling, you still smell fragrances at the duty free. So it's a really never-ending job. And you get raw materials, you get inspiration there. So it's a 360 approach that we have on fragrances.
Great. So now we're going to move to the smelling experience. So we all have a job. We start with Stephanie Pick. She's picked one creation, and we come around to share it with you.
Thank you, guys. That's the last bag. Yeah, I didn't take my lab bottle, so I need to spray. I have been smart. Maybe we keep. I don't know. I don't know. No. Okay. Thank you so much. No, this was for us. I don't know if we have enough. If you can tell me, I didn't count really.
Everybody has one, yeah? Cool.
Everybody got it? Yeah, everyone got it?
So now
Okay,
the mystery is going to be revealed.
So, yes, you are smelling Empire Tea by Nose Republic. And I can have absolutely no better words than the amazing text and brief, one of the most beautiful of my career that I received to create this. So I just selected an extract from the text of Ms. Ksenia Golovanova, who's the artistic director hidden behind Nose Republic Beautiful Creations, for whom Cristiano also composed. Empire Tea, a cool, nocturnal, ashy tuberose straight from the heart of Moscow. After the skyscrapers of Manhattan captured the world's imagination in the early 20th century, the Soviets wanted their slice of the sky too. And so the Seven Sisters were built, ornate, Gothic, fortress-like towers that came to dominate Moscow's skyline and made it look like Gotham, a fictional city from Batman's universe. Only the very rich and affluent could move in. The terraces and balconies of Seven Sisters were legendary, and so were the open-air parties hosted by the lucky residents up high above the sky. Women would wear custom-tailored dresses and silk stockings brought from abroad, smoke mentholated cigarettes, and sip at expensive Sovetskoye champagne, not as good as the French stuff, but the best there was to get. Men would discuss governmental contracts and foreign policies. Our country's future would be shaped during those long nights spent on Seven Sisters' beautiful terraces. There's another worldly quality to night Moscow, a landscape of light and shadows, rate and reflected lights, a cinematic world not built to a human scale, a secret empire of cigarette tobacco and hushed whispers, history being made on the highest floors of Seven Sisters. What does this secret empire smell like? Tuberose and smoke, cool night, air and marble, ash and aspiration. By Xenia Golovanova. I have nothing more to add. Hope you enjoy it.
Who's ready with the next one? Patrice? Yeah? So we move to Patrice's creation. Same thing, we don't tell you what it is first.
I'm independent, but I have assistants. So this one is a perfume created for Obvious, the niche brand, Obvious, by David Frossard. And if you need more, I don't know, yeah. So the inspiration was the chili pepper and all the sensations around this ID. From the beginning, when you crunch the... Sorry. I'm really... from the beginning, when you crunch the green pepper bell, and it becomes more and more red with this spiciness, very hot, and you can almost smell the seeds inside. And after a long time, it becomes more and more like something dry, like a dried chili pepper. Thank you. The beginning is really green, yeah, and it contrasts with the end, which is very, very spicy in the hot, spicy hot skin, yeah, manner, and how to say? I like the sentence of the brand, which who says, sorry, I climb the ladder of pleasure and get licked with fire, because it's not my sentence, but at the beginning I like this contrast inside, and at the end an addiction with these spicy notes, which becomes. I use the ambery woods inside. I don't like ambery woods when it's used in huge quantities, but here for this subject of the chili pepper, it was appropriate to have this hotness. No, yeah, warmth. Yes, thank you. That's the word. Oh, yeah. And so I don't know if you like it, but it was an entire experience around the chili pepper in a smell manner approach.
Patrice, I have a question for you, because Scoville is of course the scale for for the spiciness. You went on which height of you went to the top, or what was or more medium?
It depends the stage of the evolution of the perfume. You are, I think, just at the first level of the story at the beginning, and it's more and more hot.
Yeah. So then it inflames.
Yeah. And it's more hot on the skin also.
Aha,
Yeah,
good to
yeah.
know.
It's a very simple, short formula with a lot of impact with the choice of raw materials inside. Inside there is a piri piri, which is a root, yeah, from Behave, from the incredible team from Behave, so a sourcer of raw materials, and the piri piri gives all the richness and the spiciness to the perfume inside, in the base. So if you want to test it at the end on the skin, you're welcome.
Okay, we move to Cristiano.
Yes. So
Thank you.
what I'm showing, not showing, smelling, letting you smell, is a release that is popping up here in Excense during Excense. It's a brand with whom I'm particularly attached with. It's called Rubini Fragrances. It comes from Mantova. It's a small city, but with a very rich historical path. And with him, we started back in 2015, and every year we try to break boundaries and to push the limits in fragrances. So comes in a kind of a duo. Before the release before, it was something very sharp and very edgy, metallic and spicy. Here we've tried to find some peace with some smooth notes and pastel tone colors. So the main theme is a flowery osmanthus, and it's followed and back with some natural coconut jungle essence, which is a Delice from the Man Palette. And then, of course, there is an overdose of vanilla, absolute resinoid, and CO2 jungle essence extracts, which is another very fancy ingredients from our raw materials palette. And yeah, the idea is, as we said, to have this cloudy and fluffy feeling of an osmanthus flower blooming on September.
And you've just launched it now, correct, huh?
Yes, it's coming out. He's at the stand and he's showing it at the
Idilios.
Idilios, yes.
Okay, last secret to be revealed. Oliver.
Okay, all right, 1 second. Okay, voilà, merci. Grazie mille. Okay, so the fragrance you're currently going to be smelling very soon, because it's passing around, is a fragrance I was asked to create for Takasago, for the collection that they presented at the Dubai Beauty World. So, and the theme for the fragrance was that they wanted a Middle Eastern style fragrance with a Japanese ingredient. One thing I mentioned before was the Japanese culture. That also translates to a Japanese palette. So we have a range of materials that include also naturals and headspaces. And I was particularly inspired by a headspace of a Japanese whiskey, Nikka single malt. And the accord was absolutely beautiful. And I found some parallelism between the whiskey accord and the universe of oud. In terms of the smoky animal peaty notes that you find in the whiskey. And so what I decided to do was take this whiskey accord and combine it with a very ambery, resinous, Middle Eastern kind of feel, which grounds this whiskey and gives it a real, like, almost syrupy feeling without being too sticky on the skin. On the top, what you're smelling is a trio of peppers. So you have black pepper, some pink pepper, and also Timor pepper, which is just it's a magical ingredient I've just discovered very, very recently, and I'm in love with it. so that lifts the fragrance, and in the base you have an overdose of vanilla absolute. You have lots of benzoin, you have some labdanum derivatives, and two beautiful musks, which are both Takasago specialities, which are Ambretone and Muscone. We have Levo Muscone, which is a bit more refined, and it's lovely to work with. So I had a bit of fun playing with this, basically. So I hope you enjoy it.
Can I ask something you told me just before, that this is like a project that you did immediately starting at Takasago just now, so it's not a commercial project.
No. I was given a week and a half to make this from scratch, so so it's very much, I would say, a prototype, not a finished fragrance in that sense.
But your Japanese inspiration got ignited.
Exactly, and I found it even more interesting to present something that's a bit crude, a bit non finito, as we'd say in Italian, a bit rough on the edges. I think it shows a bit more character sometimes. So, anyway.
We have many other things with the perfumers we could talk about, but the conference has to be limited in time. So guys, I would recommend, if you agree, to cover 2 additional questions. One is, what do you think in terms of trends, olfactive trends, you picking or you're interested in? And 2, your personal aspiration to finish off. Is that okay with you guys? Okay, so let's see, what is your point of view, your evaluation of the olfactive trends that are going on in the market? Patrice?
I like the idea of the new gourmand types, like persins, like cereals inspiration, the matcha too. And the other one is, but I think you will speak about that, the mineral notes. Yeah?
Popping up.
Okay, that's cool. So three main things you noticed, Patrice, and you're interested in. What about you then, Cristiano?
So for me, we are coming out in the feminine area from uber gourmand overdoses, and rich on vanillas and caramel and butter and all of these ingredients, thanks to some freshness and some cleanness, also some aldehydic ingredients, but as Patrice was saying, some mineral notes which are bumping in the feminine. And from the masculine, I think we were used to these very sharp, dry ambers and aggressive kind of hoods. And we are moving from these macho fragrances to something more gentle and gentle greens and smooth aromatics and yes, and maybe some gentle woods also, you know, to have a kind of a contrast and an evolution of the masculinity.
And Stephanie, what is your view?
I could quote one interesting thing I have in mind is I think we need to keep on reinventing oud. I've still been briefed again these last days for new perfume with oud, and I think it's of course something that we smelled a lot, and we just need to get out of this cliché oud that we smell a lot, and that actually consumers are sometimes in some very interesting market studies show that they are waiting for some newness. So I think this is a very interesting challenge, is to invent some unusual, surprising contrasts, new associations, because oud will continue to be loved by not only Middle Eastern consumers, but I mean, it's one of the most amazing richness we have on earth as a natural ingredients, I believe. And so this is something I believe is very interesting. The second thing I would say would be to play with the new. I'm very sensitive to the new sustainable ingredients, also patented and created by different labs and companies, and I think it opens a lot of new possibilities also and new territories to explore.
Oliver.
Okay, very briefly. I think it's a very exciting time in terms of the landscape of the perfume market. Our consumers are more perfume literate than ever before, and they're demanding for more creative contrasts. So it's an exciting time also to be a perfumer, because it's asking for a lot of innovation. It means people aren't looking for what they've already smelt before. They don't want to smell what they've smelt in the last 10, 15 years. So we're seeing, as Stephanie said, more creative ideas with oud, lots of tropical fruits that before, 10 years ago, we didn't really see at all on the market. So I'm excited about exploring maybe the saltiness, lots of gourmands, but with a salty inflection, or contrasting even gourmands with marine notes. I think it's a very exciting landscape. It's a very exciting time to try new ideas. Yeah.
Okay, so the last question is really to kind of sum up your creative inspiration and your personal aspiration as a perfumer, because we started off with a very personal question and we end up like that on a very personal note. Stephanie?
Well, of course, I would love and dream of growing Sensaba enough to also work maybe with some other perfumers, being able to hire and give their chance to young, talented perfumers, as I teach a lot, as you said, and I'm really sensitive to this transmission aspect. Then if I think further, I don't know, yes, as we were discussing earlier, I told you, why not imagine in a few years a possibility to be a perfumer, like an in-house perfumer for one brand. I think what attracts me most in this idea is just to work on less projects at the same time. But I mean, really embody the spirit of a brand, and this is an in-house perfumer really for one brand is something that is quite attractive to me. So we'll see with the future.
Okay, so maybe you change your card. Who knows? Cristiano, what is your aspiration?
So my inspiration is first of all to get settled in Italy after many years abroad and establish within the Italian brands. Of course, there are many historical ones that deserve my full attention. And of course to bring innovative and olfactive landscapes to a broader audience, and try to also get influenced by different cultures, and I'm very open to discover and put myself in discussion on a daily basis.
Oliver?
So in the immediate future, I would say I'm looking forward to settling into my new home, Takasago. There's a lot of new ingredients for me to discover. I didn't realize moving from one company to another how much time it takes to adapt in terms of the raw materials, but even like the silly things in terms of the softwares. So I'm adapting and learning as it goes. I'm very excited, about the prospect of meeting new clients, working for new markets, and creating beautiful fragrances. So yeah, that's it.
Beautiful. And you, Patrice? The garden. How is the garden blossoming?
I hope I will say something, but I'm not depressed. Okay, but I hope I will be there next year, because that I want to say is perfumery is a very huge industry now with a lot of new things, but that's not because there is a lot of things, new perfumes each year, that it's easy to work in, and that's not a reason for I don't know to have a place here. So it's a daily battle with the place you have to do in this industry when you are indie. So I hope I will be there next year. That's the first thing, and I hope I will have new challenging projects, and with in terms of searching new things, new notes, new mix of notes with my clients. So.
Wonderful. Well, I think you all agree this has been really, really interesting to listen, dive into your world, and to see the passion, smell it also, how it translates into beautiful perfume. So thank you very much. I think they deserve an applause.
Thank you.
And I think we maybe can only take one or two questions if people have a burning question to ask any perfumer. Two guys here. One, two.
What makes you... Can you hear me now?
Yes.
What makes you love a project when you receive a brief? What makes you hate a project? Maybe hate is a strong word.
Yeah.
What makes you dislike a project?
Who wants to answer? What makes you love or hate a project?
In general, I would say when it comes to projects, we're all looking for something exciting to work on, something new, something, a brief that offers. I think perfume is about storytelling in general, and so if a brief opens a story for you, that's something really exciting to work on. Okay. In terms of briefs that I'm less excited to work on, I can't really answer that. It's a bit difficult because it's up to us to find something interesting to create inside that. So even something that asks for a twist of something that's on the market, why not add something completely different that really changes it and gives it a new dimension? Yeah. That was very exciting, yes.
Second question, and then we have to leave the room because the next panel is starting, unfortunately, to be respectful.
Hi, my name is Gurpal. I'm the founder and perfumer at Khushbu Perfumery. So I really enjoyed the conversations today. Naturally, I'm very drawn and attracted to Stephanie and Patrice's part of the discussion. My question to you both is if you could share with me, being independent, how do you spend your time? Obviously, a lot of it may be spent creating in the lab. A lot of it is spent during the business, so as a percentage during the week. How do you kind of average out lab time and business time?
I have no more life. No.
I guess you understand he has a very special sense of humor, Patrice.
Yeah, no. But I try to spend the most of my time in the lab to create all the dozen of projects and more, so more formulas to be able to have new things on the market. But I have to do the commercial part, as I said before. So I think I spend all my day at the lab, and at the end of the day, I do the financial, not so funny part. Yeah. In the metro in Paris, when I go back home, I check my emails and I answer. I have no life. No more life.
I think it's a good habit to smell in the morning. It's something that's really important, and to do a good creation and smelling session in the morning. But for sure, we have to part our time on like marketing presentation, answering to the clients, doing communication. This is really takes a lot of time to do things properly also. So, and indeed, of course, most of time in the lab, yeah.
But it's a wonderful experience.
It is.
And we had a smelling experience in the morning, so we did a job well this morning.
Absolutely.
Have a great day at Extens. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dicono che voglio un profumo che piace a tutti, che duri per sempre. Ho evitato.